to do that.
Recording.
Okay, welcome everybody to the special meeting of the incoming board of the University of Sydney Union for 2020 to 2021. My name is James Hoare. I'm the returning officer and chair of this meeting, and I declare the meeting open at 10:04 a.m. Sorry, just bringing up the agenda. First item on the agenda, acknowledgement of country. Connor has asked me to read a special acknowledgement of country today. Just fair warning, this acknowledgement includes the names of deceased persons. Today, we are meeting on the stolen lands of Indigenous communities. This land was never terra nullius and sovereignty was never ceded, bought or sold. The USU pays its respects to Aboriginal elders past, present and emerging, and we extend that acknowledgement to any Aboriginal people here with us today. For the first time, this special meeting of the incoming board is being held with one participant in America, namely me. The recent events here following the murder of Black man George Floyd by a white police officer have reiterated to all that the responsibilities of the USU in this arena extend beyond an acknowledgement of country. As a student organisation, we have a responsibility to use our platform to speak out against the ongoing murder of Black people across the nation and across the world. George Floyd's last words were, "I can't breathe." In the 8 years I've lived in America, I've lost count of the number of times I've seen footage of a Black man dying at the hands of police saying these words, including the 2014 death of Eric Garner here in New York. Floyd and Garner's words bear a haunting resemblance to the final words of Dunghutti man David Dungay Jr., who was killed by officers in an Australian prison in 2015. He repeated that same phrase, "I can't breathe," 12 times. The Black Lives Matter movement is alive in Australia and indeed needed, just as it is in America. Since 1991, there have been 400 Aboriginal deaths in police custody, but no conviction of any officer. Aboriginal peoples are the most incarcerated population in the world. Their life expectancies are a decade shorter than white settlers, and their rates of infant mortality double that of white mothers. Indigenous children continue to be unfairly removed from families, and our own university, standing on sacred Gadigal land, has less than 1% First Nations enrolment. The riots are not a cause for surprise. For generations, Black people have been systematically traumatized, abused, marginalized, and killed. The lives of TJ Hickey, David Dungay Jr., Kumanjayi Walker, Eric Whitaker, George Floyd, and many more must not be reduced to mere statistics. We need to stand up against any future deaths in respect for those who we've lost. The Black Lives Matter movement is not a trend. It's an ongoing and exhausting struggle that Black individuals have been fighting for generations. Now it is time for everybody to join. No more silence, no more complicity. We must all dedicate our lives wholeheartedly to fighting against racist injustice. The USU expresses its unconditional support for all demonstrating and acknowledges that it must do more for its Black communities by engaging closely not only with our Indigenous members, but also the white supremacy and daily oppressions that affect them. We call on every student to attend the vigil on Saturday at 3 p.m. and any future Black Lives Matter rallies. At Sydney's 2019 protest against the murder of Warlpiri man Kumanjayi Walker, an Indigenous man shot in his home, one speaker said, "We can't afford complacency anymore because our people are dying. We need to be better and do better, and that means turning our thoughts into action by donating and attending rallies. Always was, always will be Aboriginal land." With that, we move on to item 2 on the agenda, apologies, proxies, and leaves of absence. I have had a request for early departure from Murray Leach if the meeting extends beyond 11 a.m. And in the event that it does, she has allocated her proxy to Connor Werrett. Can I please get a mover and seconder to accept that request?
I need a mover and seconder, it's just...
For the early departure. I would think I probably do, right?
No, you don't. It's entirely. They don't have any power at this stage, so
All
it's
good.
entirely in your discretion.
There we go. Well, okay. Moving on in that case to item 3 on the agenda, which is the election of the executive of the board. Before we jump into that, I'm going to talk through just some housekeeping regarding how this election is going to work this year, given its unique situation. The order of election of positions will follow that prescribed in the regulations. The way this will work is as we get to each agenda item for each position, I will call for nominations and a nominator and seconder verbally indicate for each nominated candidate. You can nominate yourself as well. I will indicate a final call for nominations after one or more have been received, and then I will close the call for nominations. In the event that the number of nominees equals the number of positions being elected, then I will declare those nominees to be elected and invite them to speak for a couple of minutes. In the event that there are more nominees than positions available, I will invite each candidate to speak for a couple of minutes in the order of nomination. We will then proceed to voting, which will be conducted electronically. Candidates will be on the ballot, should be on the ballot in order of nomination. In fact, actually, you drag and drop them over, so they'll probably just be displayed in the order of nomination in the picker that you have in the email that you receive. Each of you has provided your email address, and we've tested that you can receive emails from this service. Once the speeches are over, I will commence the distribution of ballots via email. There may be some slow delivery here and there, but I will not close off the voting until I can see that all 13 of you have voted. And if there are any issues that you have receiving the ballot, just send me a private message in the chat of the Zoom meeting. Once all ballots have been cast, I will stop the voting in the online election. And Dana and I are going to move into a Zoom breakout room to review and confirm the results. We will then return to the meeting and I will announce the result. Do not share your voting link. There is a regulation around this, besides just being common sense. The site will be tracking who voted, including what time they voted and from what IP address. However, the votes themselves are anonymous. So it tracks participation, but it does not map voters to how they voted. The board secretary, Dane, will be provided with both the anonymous ballots as well as the record of who voted after this meeting. And pursuant to one of the special regulations enacted this year, 9.13.5.3, there will be no scrutineers for the process. Any questions or concerns before I open nominations for president? Take that as a no. So in that case, I will now call for nominations for President of the University of Sydney Union.
I'd like to nominate Irene.
Is there a seconder?
I'm happy to second that.
Great.
I would like to nominate myself.
Is there a seconder?
I'll be the seconder. I'll be the second.
Cool. Are there any other nominations? Okay, so I declare nominations closed. Irene, the floor is yours.
Okay. I want to start by paying respect for Aboriginal elder past, present and emerging, and this land was never Terra Nullius. It always is and always will be Aboriginal land. When I first had gingerfish with rice at Abercrombie Terrace Cafe, I would never think I will one day running for the USU president. Yes, my journey to the USU board started from a simple culinary item from one of our beloved outlets, and I am so proud that it has become so much more than that. If I have the honor to lead this union, my first priority is a smooth COVID response that brings the union back to normality. My second priority is to increase the transparency of the USU. As you may know, this year is a strategic planning year. I will focus on embracing a digital revolution to increase accessibility and engagement. I will focus on how the USU can better advocate for the student body and address issues for underrepresented and underprivileged in our society. But I can't achieve this on my own, as there is a Chinese proverb saying, "A single strain does not make a forest. A single tree does not make a forest. A single strain cannot make music." Luckily, I have your support. I want to thank the current executive for your leadership and guidance in the past year, especially Connor. Your dedication and conviction, your passion and intelligence is truly valuable for the USU. You've set a high standard for the position, and I would find myself hard to fill. I want to thank the board for putting their trust in me, especially to Katie, who has been my firm supporter from the very beginning, and also to Nick. I know this decision hasn't been easy for you, but thank you so much. I want to thank everyone in and outside of the USU who inspired me, encouraged me, and supported me in the past, because you are the reason got me here today. I want to thank our staff, because there are many people worked really hard behind the scene in the USU so we can have more visible student experience. 2020 is an unprecedented year. The USU working in an unknown territory where there's no precedent we can follow. There's no constitutional regulation that provides us with a solution that get us through this difficult situation. Only pure passion, conviction, and unity of the board and the staff can provide the solution and get the union through this many challenges. I have faith in the USU that it will be stronger. We will be stronger because we are stronger together. Thank you.
Thank you, Irene. Danny.
Good morning, everyone. Over the past months, I have been talking with almost everyone here about my values and thoughts. The role of a president is extremely vital for the future operation of USU. It will be instrumental to reform the USU. The recent COVID-19 pandemic has surely presented us so many challenges, but also opportunities. My story with USU starting with winning the dancing battle at the Welcome to Sydney party. The USU had made the campus a new home away from home, providing me with so many opportunities from event photographer to board director, and helped me find my feet in a new country and new culture. I still remember the first message I've got on campus is we're here to help. Helping others is also core of my value and heritage. It's the mutual help and support I have received and shared with others that allows me to persevere till now at this very moment presenting to you all. I have always believed being genuine and true to oneself is the key to getting respect, trust, understanding, and has always been following this principle. Perceived as the silent majority, as an international students, I have seen the community being called foreign invasion. I've seen individuals being attacked, being threatened, being expelled, being removed, being excluded. This truly hurts me, and that's why it empowers me to be more open, compassionate, responsible, and understanding. People say you're not engaged enough, so I actually try harder and contribute more. People say you don't have a thorough idea about the organization, so I invest the time and efforts to go through every board document, talk to staff, students, and key stakeholders to present a holistic proposal with a long-term vision. People say it will be impossible for an international student to achieve this. That's why I'm standing here with my full passion and belief. The USU is not just about membership. It's not just about the programs and services we have. It's about experience. It's about memories. It's about every unique individual story associated. It's about pride, equality, diversity, inclusiveness, and the responsibility. It's about every one of us. We need to provide this unique sense of belonging and connections to every single one of our members. I was hesitant and even afraid, but this might be the only way I can make the voice heard. The only way I can represent the majority of incoming student board directors to present the vast majority of student body. I believe it is only through this that we can regain the protections for various perspectives, regain all of the rules, maintain the diversity and inclusivity of the USU. Therefore, we can put the real student interests and needs at the heart of the entire organization. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Benny. I am now going to click the button to send you all an email, send all directors an email to vote. You should receive that shortly. And I'll just keep an eye here on when all votes are in. And let me know if there are any issues. The one other thing that I will mention as we are waiting for the emails to arrive is that you do not have to exhaust your ballot. You can vote for fewer candidates than are running if that's what you would like. And the elections as per the USU Constitution are all being run under the rules of the Proportional Representation Society of Australia, which has less impact on these positions where we're electing a single person. However, it might come in some of the later elections. Okay, it's telling me that all voters have voted. So I'm going to, can everyone, is anyone disagreeing with that? Oh, okay. In that case, I'm going to stop voting. And Dane and I will go to a breakout room.
You could cut the air with a knife, couldn't you? Thank you, everyone. I declare Irene elected. Okay. Item 3.2 on the agenda, election of the Vice President. I will call for nominations now.
I nominate Nick Forbutt to be the Vice President.
I second that.
Any other nominations? Going once, going twice. Closed. I confirm that Nick Forbut is hereby elected Vice President of the University of Sydney Union. Nick, you have the floor for a couple of minutes if you would like.
Firstly, I'd also like to acknowledge all traditional custodians upon whose stolen land we will meet today, and remind everyone that blatant police brutality and race-based killings are not unique to the United States. Indigenous Australians are the most incarcerated population on earth, and this board has a responsibility to centre Indigenous voices in all that we do. Always was, always will be Aboriginal land. The role of the Vice President extends far beyond that which is codified in the regulations. As a board director this year, I've learned that a Vice President must support the President, represent what the organisation values, communicate effectively to both the membership and the university, and to have a solid understanding of governance, particularly in relation to committees and working parties. Over the past year, I've also learned the importance of integrity and honesty, and recognise that good leadership is centred on listening and respecting to everybody's viewpoints. Good leadership is also about refusing to stay politically neutral on issues that directly impact our membership. For me, this means amplifying marginalised voices, never compromising this union's independence, supporting environmental justice, taking tangible steps to fight for student welfare during extremely difficult times, and throwing our support behind the campaign for targeted government stimulus to tertiary education. This executive will be guided by the stark realities of the USU following COVID-19, the need for recovery, and the upcoming strategic plan. I know that the current state of the USU is concerning to many of our members. Staff are still suffering due to cuts to capacity. There is uncertainty about our operational plan to revive revenue streams. There has been a noticeable lack of transparency, and there are question marks over the future of SAF. As Vice President, I will work collaboratively with staff and key stakeholders to fix these problems. I believe my willingness to engage in the direction of the union in the long term reflects my priority of a Vice President that considers more than just the next 12 months. On a personal note, I really do have a lot to thank the USU for. When I moved to Sydney from rural New South Wales, I only knew one person in Sydney. I was extremely lonely, lost, and extremely anxious about starting university as well. But after attending 2017 O Week, I joined societies, I got involved in reviews, attended USU events, and hung out at USU outlets. All of these experiences were incredibly empowering and formative for me. This board has a responsibility to ensure that every student, no matter what their background, grows a strong sense of belonging to our union during their time at the University of Sydney. My nomination for the position of Vice President is really a summation or culmination of 4 years worth of experiences, courtesy of the best university union in the country. I promise as Vice President to devote all my time, skills, and passion into this organisation. Thank you.
We have lost James. So we're just going to.
Sorry, I was muted. I was muted. Apologies. We're moving on to item. Sorry. Thank you, Nick, and congratulations. We're moving on to item 3.3 on the agenda, which is the election of the honorary treasurer. My favourite position, the position I used to hold. Opening the call for nominations.
I nominate Katie Brown to be treasurer.
Second that nomination.
Any other nominations? There being no further nominations, I declare Katie Brown elected honorary treasurer of the University of Sydney Union. Katie, the floor is yours.
Thank you. So again, I would like to acknowledge the Indigenous people, past and present, who stole land that we all meet on today, wherever we are. We recognise that this land was never terra nullius, that the land belonging to these peoples was never ceded, given up, bought or sold, and I extend my acknowledgement to all those who are suffering today. Never before has the role of the Treasurer been so critical to the progress of the USU. Our current financial situation, impacted by the nature of pandemic, has placed us into obvious financial detriment that will take the next few years to rebuild from. The number one goal for the next 12 months is for the USU to stay solvent, and that is something I'm personally willing to pledge as my number one priority if I have the opportunity throughout my term. Some people may disagree, but I think I have a brain, and this brain has a strong conscience to make big brain decisions. And supporting Irene Mile was one of my biggest big brain moments, because I strongly believe under the leadership of Irene, we can bring our union back on track. Our proposal is intertwined on the premise of ensuring that it is a priority that staff wages were stabilised, to making sure our relationship with the university is strong, to ensure that free membership is a must, to directing any revenue we get at the moment is invested back into our student programs, and to make sure that our relationships with other student-led university organs and our relationships with all students, domestic, international, college and non-college, are warm and inviting. Because it is not our financials, our buildings, our retail stores, or our cafes that are our most valuable asset. It's our people that are our most valuable asset. We created Stronger Together in the hope of unity and for trust, because all of this is about looking after one another and, importantly, the students. It is us who reflect the best of the USU and its values, the same values that made me want to be a member in 2018, the same values that attract hundreds of clubs and societies, and the same values that make small town girls like me want to run to help manage the largest student organisation in Australia. Again, to echo Irene, us as the board need to be ambassadors of this crucial period of change. Yes, I'm running for treasurer, but my contribution to the board executive will be a team player, an advisor, someone who will put in the hard yards and will continue the invisible work, someone who will attempt to continue the incredible leadership of Maya, who has treated my questions, concerns and friendship with nothing but dignity and respect over the past year. July 1 will start a new chapter. We have made progress, but we know the job is not done yet. And honestly, I don't know when that will be, but I hope I can gain your trust in the financial leadership of the USU in the next 12 months, even if the accumulating pile of online shopping in the corner of my bedroom shows something otherwise. Thank you.
Thank you, Katie, and congratulations.
Thank you.
We will now move on to agenda item 3.4, election of the honorary secretary. I open the call for nominations.
I would like to nominate Benny Shen for the honorary secretary.
Seconder?
Happy to second.
Any other nominations? With that, I declare Benny Shen elected honorary secretary of the University of Sydney Union. Congratulations, Benny. You're welcome to say a few more words if you'd like.
I just want to say thank you to everyone, and I think that's all. Thank you.
Great, congratulations. Okay, so we now move on to agenda item 4, the election of the directors of student publications. So this is for 2 non-executive directors to be elected to this position. Given that Benny has just been elected honorary secretary and is not women identifying, at least one of the directors elected needs to be women identifying. I open the call for nominations for Director of Student Publications.
You can nominate yourself, don't worry.
Yeah, there's no shame in that. No one wants it? Ben Hines. Yep.
I would like to nominate myself for DSP.
Okay. Can I get seconders for both of those nominations?
Second.
Who's seconding who?
Second, Ben Hines.
Second, Vicky.
Yeah. Thank you. Any other nominations?
Who seconded Vicky?
Irene.
Okay, with that, I declare Ben Hines and Vicky Chin are elected directors of student publications. Do we want speeches on this one? Why not? If you guys have a few words to say, you can say a few words. Vicky, do you want to start?
Okay, I can start. First of all, thank you guys for giving me the chance to become the director of student publication. I'm really happy to get involved in this way because I've been loving to read pulp since my first year in the uni. And as I think one of the only first year board director who's multilingual on board. And given that our student publication are starting to develop in a way that we are doing multi-language also. So I believe with me as a DSP, I can better help like overlooking all the articles and also helping pulp to develop. And also for my own experience, I've been working for the Chinese Student Association, looking through their articles and their publication. And with my own campaign, my WeChat article reached more than 7,000 views. So with that in mind, I think I can try to help pulp and we can all grow together. Thank you.
Thank you, Vicky.
I guess, yeah, I'll just start too by saying thank you to everybody for your support, I guess, in this sense. I think my initial speech that I sort of had planned is now a little bit irrelevant because it was more sort of making a case, but I'll just say that essentially I've had a major passion for journalism for a long time. That includes things like loving reading pulp, loving reading ONI, loving contributing to ONI, and that sort of thing. So I'd like to say this was something that I was always incredibly passionate about, and I'm incredibly eager to get started and do the best job I can. I won't give the original speech justifying to you why I think I can do a good job. I hope you'll just trust that that's the case and hopefully make sure that that's the case over my term. But yeah, I'd just like to reiterate my incredible thanks to you all for your support.
Congratulations to you both. Okay, so now we move on to item 5 on the agenda. This is election of directors to committees. Pursuant to section 4.2 of the regulations, in any committee, women identifying people shall comprise no less than half the membership of the committee. In the case of a committee with an uneven number of members, women identifying people should comprise not fewer than the number of members produced by dividing the number of members of the committee by 2 and subtracting 1/2. The first item in this section, item 5.1, is the election to the Finance Committee of one non-executive director who shall be deputy chair of the Finance Committee. I open the call for nominations.
I'd like to nominate myself.
I'd like to Nick Rigby. Yeah, seconded by Ben. Anyone else? In that case, I declare Nick elected deputy chair of the Finance Committee. Congratulations, Nick. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Well, it's a real honour to be elected as deputy chair of the Finance Committee. I think at the moment, at this very turbulent time in the US youth history, it is absolutely essential that we have a Finance Committee that is transparent, that is effective, that is efficient in all of its processes. And I completely promise that to the USU board and the USU staff that I will be the best deputy chair that I can be. It's an absolute honour. Really happy. And thank you so much. And I hope that I can do the best that I can. I hope I have your trust.
Congratulations, Nick. Item 5.2, which is the election of a non-executive director to the Remuneration Committee. I open the call for nomination.
I'll second that.
I'd like to nominate Ben Hines.
I'll second that.
Okay, anyone else? No? All right, in that case, Prue, given you were nominated first, the floor is yours.
So I'd like to acknowledge that I'm coming from Darawal land. Sovereignty was never ceded, and I encourage everyone to attend the vigil. Always was, always will be Aboriginal land. So my name is Prudence. I'm in my 4th year of a law degree. The reason I'm nominating for HR remuneration is because I acknowledge the importance of this committee, being as this year is intersected by challenges of COVID-19, the responsibility of being a strategic planning year, and the opportunities presented by the resignation of CEO Alexis Roitman. This all needs to inform the direction of current or potential CEOs, KPIs and performance reviews, 10-step plans and other conversations common to senior management. And I've also been an active and confident contributor. Secondly is my unique experience of having worked within the USU administration for almost a year. I know many of the lower level staff, and I think I'm well placed to understand how decisions in HR and REM with the CEO can affect the entire organization. It provides an exciting opportunity to collaborate more closely with the CEO and staff. It also hopes many of the conversations we have about the USU will not be held in abstract, because I understand the impact and the implications of any goals or decisions we make, and I can provide those first-hand thoughts and experiences from working in different areas in ensuring we take well-organized and ambitious steps to lead us out of the crisis, whilst also rebuilding for the decade ahead with specific focus on improving student experience and accessibility. We've also seen major staff changes, and our operations manager, Jess, has been taking up the difficult job of balancing that and the CEO position, which has underlined the importance of a CEO who has good organization and interpersonal skills. My understanding of this background makes me passionate about the role of this committee. However, the value I place in this role will likely in some ways be matched by Ben. So what I think uniquely distinguishes me is a couple of things. Firstly, I have the experience of being on the executive of the Student Representative Council, which means that I have a lot of skills and knowledge directly relevant to HR remuneration. We've looked at hiring lawyers, contracts, remunerations in terms of stipends, budget, and constitutional concerns, which I think transitions me positively into this role. I also have tangential experience on the faculty board with the dean and 40 or so heads of schools, and also the exec of clubs, which I think the USU is well placed to acknowledge as being an invaluable experience. And through these organizations, I've been in discussions around KPIs and performance reviews, 10-step plans and other conversations common to senior management, and I've also been an active and confident contributor. Secondly is my unique experience of having worked within the USU administration for almost a year. I know many of the lower level staff, and I think I'm well placed to understand how decisions in HR and REM with the CEO can affect the entire organization. It provides an exciting opportunity to collaborate more closely with the CEO and staff. It also hopes many of the conversations we have about the USU will not be held in abstract, because I understand the impact and the implications of any goals or decisions we make, and I can provide those first-hand thoughts and experiences from working in different areas of the USU other than just the board. And thirdly, as someone who's been studying law for 4 years now, I feel that I'm quite mature in my ability to solve problems critically, be reasonable, logical, and deal with potentially dry material. It also helps that I have studied contract law, though I'm not obviously a lawyer, but I think having that legal background can help in discussions around things like industrial relations instruments and civil law conversations. This is the only committee that I tend to nominate for, because I truly believe I have the unique set of skills specific to this role. I have the insightful experience, and I'm passionate about working collaboratively and actively with the board and the CEO to bring the USU out of COVID, and not only into recovery, but into improvement. Thank you.
Thank you, Prue. Ben.
Sure. So I think before I go into a bit more depth about why I think I'm the candidate that's probably best placed for this role, I think it's important to do a little bit of framing. So I think we can all agree this committee is going to be one of, if not the most important ones over the next year, noting the things Prudence talked about, the search for the CEO, strategic planning, staff-related financial sustainability, and things like that are likely to at least somewhat be under its purview, but I think Prudence did a great job there, so I won't dwell on that. As a result, I'd kind of say if there was one committee I would say we should avoid politicizing this year, it's definitely this one. So what do I mean by that? I think this probably looks like two things. First, I'd suggest that people should probably in this case not vote necessarily based on who supported X or Y for president, but rather who they genuinely think will be the best in their estimation for the interests of the USU. And if after deliberation you think that's probably not me, then I would honestly have no issue with that. But secondly, I think what it looks like is keeping kind of factional or political influences out of this committee. And I think as we saw with things like the capacity cuts to staff earlier this year, certain campus groups probably have some vested interest in the USU acting in certain ways, ways that are detrimental to the USU when it comes to the sort of topics that HRM deals with. And that's why certain factions kind of see this role as kind of vital. And I think it's probably dangerous to let outside groups have sort of an influence on the director in this role. Not that I necessarily see that being the case with Prudence, but I thought it was important. But moving on, why do I think I'd be the best candidate for this role? I think that's probably true for 8 reasons. First, having worked in a distressed asset firm in China, essentially we had experience with exactly the type of things that Prudence has outlined and I'll outline is kind of important. So that looks like taking firms and organizations on the brink of financial distress and replacing the CEOs, replacing their management to turn them around, as well as suggesting how to review performance and recruit other people. And I think that's incredibly analogous to a post-COVID USU and would help me do a great job. Secondly, as an independent candidate in this election and the last election, I'm free to make decisions in the best interest of the USU with zero influence or pressure from outside groups to have certain stances or to change my stance. And that speaks to what I said before about keeping politicization out of the role. Third, I think I have a level of financial literacy by virtue of both my finance degree and real world experience that's unique, both in terms of candidates for this role and the incoming board in general. And I think that'd be incredibly beneficial. Fourth, if elected to this committee, kind of similar to what Prudence said, I'm committed to not nominating for any further committees or even portfolios today, because I think the importance of this role is one that needs someone to go above and beyond, and I'm willing to dedicate that time and effort. Fifth, I'd love to get the chance to work with both Marie and Jane. Obviously, you both have immense institutional knowledge and experience, and I'd love to learn as much as possible from working together, and I think having that goal and mindset will increase my capacity to help on the committee. Sixth, I think my interest in sort of management consulting in general and the case competitions I've done in that area means that not only do I have like a vested interest in doing really well in this role that would hopefully make me do better, but also the experience in the areas that would be relevant to apply these skills in the most tangible way possible in this committee. Seventh, having worked as a paralegal in Guangzhou, we did things such as employment law, we did things like Prudence mentioned, hiring, KPIs, and all of those things will be directly relevant to the committee. And noting my time quickly, eighth, as a third-year law student, unfortunately not a fourth-year law student, I have also done things like contract law and all of those relevant things. I'm also acquainted with more dry material, and I think that will be incredibly beneficial and translate well. So in summary, I think for all of those reasons, I would be incredibly well placed to help not only the USU to recover, but to be in a stance that it could be better than it would otherwise have been. Thank you.
Thank you, Ben. I am just clicking the start voting button, so stand by for the voting emails. Okay, it's telling me that all voters have voted, so I'm going to stop voting now. And Dane will jump into another breakout room.
Yeah. I think, James, if you've got a join button, then you can jump in.
Yeah.
Just to fill the air, when I was on the remuneration committee, I always said remuneration instead of remuneration, and everyone got very cross at me. So whoever is elected, make sure you get the M first, then the N second. Remuneration. I always got it wrong.
Okay, we have the results, and it is, I would like to congratulate Ben on being elected to the remuneration committee. Did I say it right, Connor? Excellent. Moving on to item 5.3, the most thankless role because you have to be on a committee with me, the election to the electoral committee. This is for one non-executive director. I open the call for nominations.
In lieu of of the HR and RAM, I will go for electoral.
Second that.
Yep. Anyone else? In that case, I declare Prue elected to the Electoral Committee. Would you like to say a few words, or?
Keen to do elections over and over again.
Yeah, welcome. I bid you a warm welcome to our committee. Item 5.4, the election of a first-year director to the Awards Committee. I'd like to open nominations.
I will nominate myself. I'll nominate myself.
Second.
Give me 1 sec. Dane, are there any other nominations?
There's
All right,
no
1
other
sec.
nominations for awards. No.
Yep.
I'm just
Okay,
double checking
Dane,
AA because.
Yeah, Dane can. So
Yeah.
my only concern here is that Nick, I don't think you're technically a first-year director.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, Nick, you are not eligible for this position.
Yeah.
That's fair enough. Thanks, Dane.
I'd like to nominate Belinda.
Belinda.
The club committee. No one doesn't say that. It's just the
Is there a seconder for that?
Yeah, I'll second.
Cool.
So,
Any
who
other
was the
nomination?
nominator again?
It was Benny.
Thank you.
Okay. In that case, I declare Belinda elected to the Awards Committee. Congratulations. You may say a few words if you would like.
Thank you very much for believing in me. This was not something I was expecting to hear this morning. So I do not have many words for you, but thank you very much.
Excellent. Congratulations. We'll now move on to item 5.5, which is the election of one non-executive director as the deputy chair of the Clubs and Societies Committee. Open the call for nominations.
I'd like to nominate Ruby.
I nominate Belinda for.
Is there?
Sorry.
Sorry,
I
is there a
second.
seconder for Ruby? Yeah. So it's seconded by Prue. And Irene nominating Belinda.
Seconded.
Seconded by Katie.
I would like to nominate Vicky.
Seconder.
Can I second that as well?
Yep. All right. So we have Ruby, Belinda, and Vicky. So Ruby, the floor is yours.
Cool. Just before I start speaking, I'd like to acknowledge the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation whose land I'm sitting on today. I think it's always really important to recognise that this land was stolen and it was never ceded, and we need to keep that fact at the forefront of our minds, the forefront of our activism, and at the forefront of all discussions we have pertaining to the USU and the broader student body. We really do need to be listening to and actively platforming the voices of Indigenous students. We must recognise that in this country and abroad, there are systems of oppression that silence the voices of people of colour, and as an organisation and a community, we must stand up and fight against racism in all its forms. What I love about the CNS program is that it's incredibly inclusive of all peoples. In the CNS approval criteria, it specifically stipulates that a club or society must be equally accessible to all USU members. All students, regardless of their race or sexuality or financial background, are able to join any club or society they like. Whether you're into Quidditch or skiing or radio or reviews or the Labour or the Liberal Party even, there's seriously a society for everyone. I think that it is great, a great thing. It fosters an inclusive and diverse community, and in effect, it offers every single student a chance to find a sense of belonging in the USU. For me, the CNS program has been extremely formative. It's represented my main point of interaction with the USU, and without it, I doubt that I'd be sitting here today. In my time at uni, I've been lucky enough to sit on society executives and even start my own society. Through this, I think I've gained invaluable experience and a particularly unique understanding, not only of the value of the CNS program, but of the processes that exist within it. I have a strong understanding of the selection criteria for clubs and societies, the process of establishing a society, the expectations of societies, and the problems students face as executives and members within the CNS program. The CNS program is incredibly important to me, and broadly, it is a vital aspect of the USyd student experience. I really think that I've got the background knowledge, the experience, and the passion to be a valuable member of the CNS committee.
Thank you, Ruby. Belinda.
Firstly, I'd like to acknowledge the stolen land that we're meeting on today. I'm on Gadigal land, which was stolen and never ceded, always was and always will be Aboriginal land. My avenue through the USU has been CNS. It's been my ride or die since day one, since the minute I set foot on this campus. I've always felt included and supported by the CNS program, and that's why it's been a hugely positive and strengthening part of my life that I've been absolutely infatuated with as both a club member and executive, and it's always invited myself to challenge myself and grow. Something I also hold particularly close to my heart is the time I've spent on the executive of the CSA, the Conservatorium Students Association, which has quite a unique role to play in its student body. We bring students to staff, we create transparency in our faculty, and create a sense of belonging within our huge Conservatorium castle as just a group of passionate student volunteers. We link everyone in the faculty, from the Dean, Anna, to every single first-year student. The CNS system currently isn't perfect, which I've seen especially as a member of performing arts societies. And in this era of disconnection, my vision is one that focuses on creativity and connectivity, that brings every single member of our union together through this vitally important program. I believe that I have the experience, determination, and passion to bring this vision to the table, and thank you all for your support.
Thanks, Belinda. Vicky.
Okay, this is awkward, but I I really like the other two people, so actually I would like to withdraw and support the other two. Yeah, thank you guys.
Not awkward at all. That's totally fine. It would be awkward if I'd sent the voting email already, but I have not, so that is fine. So in that case, the ballot that you are about to receive for the position of Deputy Chair of the Clubs and Societies Committee is between Ruby and Belinda. I have clicked the button to send that right now.
Hi, James. It says that my voting has closed on my email.
Katie, I don't think you've actually opened the right link.
Yeah, I see no email opens, so it might have been the previous.
So I think you've opened a previous email.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it definitely says Clubs and Societies. Oh, there's another one that's just come through now.
Yeah, that's the one.
Oh, they both say Clubs and Societies. It's a bit weird. Okay, no worries. I'll try this.
That is weird. Did anyone else have an issue?
I haven't received it yet, James.
Okay.
Can I please confirm whether mine was received just then?
As in whether your vote was received?
Yeah, my vote was received.
Yeah, at the moment, Mari is the only one.
I've received it. It's just arrived.
Yep. Excellent.
Yes, no, I don't think James will proceed until he gets 13 votes in. So it's all.
Yeah, don't worry.
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. I now have 13 votes in. I'm going to stop the voting and off to the breakout room. Back shortly.
While we're waiting, I'll inform everyone that the CNS committee was actually dissolved in 2014 in place of these decisions being made by the programs department and with the new club panel being set up to deal with new club applications. However, the board actually felt like more student control of a CNS committee was important, and so we restored it at the end of last year. Decheng-san did a lot of work on that, so thank you, Decheng. Mari is going now. Thank you, Mari. Sorry you have to leave. And I also have an idea, so that's good. Not voting myself, I'm voting on behalf of Mari.
Excellent. I would like to congratulate Ruby on being elected Deputy Chair of the Clubs and Societies Committee. Okay, that's the final committee election. We move on to item 6, election of portfolio holders. The duties of portfolio holders are described in the regulations. Pursuant to section 9.1.2 of the regulations, in the case of each portfolio area, if there is no non-executive director elected to a position, an executive director who fulfills the affirmative action requirements may take the portfolio. If no executive director is elected, a director will be appointed to hold the area of special responsibility in consultation with community groups who fulfill the affirmative action requirements. If these provisions are exhausted, the directors who fulfill the affirmative action requirements shall be collectively responsible for the relevant area of special responsibility. So the first item here, 6.1, is the election to the women's portfolio. The director elected to this portfolio must be women identifying. I open the call for nominations.
I nominate Belinda Thomas.
Seconder?
Yeah, I second that.
Seconded by Nick, thank you.
And I nominate myself. Seconder for Ruby Lutz.
Okay. Anyone else? No, okay. Belinda, the floor is yours, or your cat's.
I wasn't planning on running for this, so this is a little spontaneous, but I know I may lack a couple titles, and I don't doubt that any woman wouldn't do a great job in this role. But I know how important this role is to this organization, so I guess I'd feel a little wrong if I didn't throw my own hat into the ring. I know anyone who runs for this might have some emotion attached to it, but I'd like to speak about my experience and my relationship with self. Coming to terms with this hugely important part of my identity has taken me a while to be proud of, per se. This journey has been given to me through extensive experiences which the USU can provide. We can all attest to the great things that this community and organization can give if the right enthusiasm is behind it, and it's only my further goal to make these experiences more and more meaningful for every member of this organization. We need to implement things that can enhance not only student experiences, but ourselves as strong and capable young women. My vision for the women's portfolio is similarly one that is creative and one that connects every single woman across this organization. I really believe this is an important focus, especially in this wacky, wonderful time we have. And we need to not only return to normal, we need to reinvent and reclaim the status quo. It is our time to shine. We love to break glass ceilings. Let's not stop now.
Thanks, Belinda. Ruby.
To be elected as the women's portfolio holder of the USU would be a huge honour and also a huge responsibility. To me, the responsibilities of this position extend far beyond those duties set out in the regulations. In my eyes, the person who fills this position is endowed with the responsibility to speak up and ensure that the voices of all women and non-binary people are heard and considered in board discussions. This requires constant consultation with the student body and also collaboration with, for example, the Women's Collective to listen to the wants and needs of women in the university community. Throughout my campaign this year, I consistently reiterated that on board, I would fight against gender discrimination in all its forms and ensure that the USU takes a firm stance on sexual harassment, both on campus and within the broader community. I will always be committed to these things, and I will take these priorities with me if I'm elected to the position of Women's Portfolio. Further, I want to recognise that feminism is an intersectional issue. In our plight for gender equality, it should always be acknowledged that discrimination is often felt at even higher rates for women of colour, women of the LGBTQI community, women living with disabilities, and women of low socioeconomic background. As such, I would hope to work in this position, not alone, but in close collaboration with all the other portfolio holders, to recognise the unique lived experiences of every single student and to ensure that all women feel safe and included in the university community. Through my role as SRC Sexual Harassment Officer and New South Wales State Convener of Reclaim the Night 2019, I've become acutely aware of many of the issues and forms of discrimination women face, both at uni and within the community. These experiences have instilled within me a passion for fighting for women's rights and representation, and this is a passion that I will bring with me if I'm elected to the role of Women's Portfolio Holder.
Thank you, Ruby. And with that, I am going to click the start voting button, and you should start receiving emails shortly. Okay, I can confirm that all voters have voted, so I'm clicking stop voting now, and we'll be back shortly.